passion doesn't always equal profit. Okay. Most faith-based coaches jump into this online space thinking that I'm going to sell you transformation. I'm going to sell you to become a better version of yourself. I'm going to help you identify your gifts and your talents so you can become this great person. But the reality is everybody needs that. It's not what people want.
People want that is validated, that you can bring true value to the marketplace. That's what really what makes a difference. And what I found that allows you to track leads is having something that the marketplace wants.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Joel Erway here, and welcome to another very special episode of Experts Unleashed. Why is today very special? It's because we're actually doing a three-way. That's right. First time we've ever done a three-way podcast. I'm really, really excited because we have two very special guests on the show here today, Corey Davis and Tuan Nguyen from Premier Excel Coaching. And we are going to be talking about their unique method of how they help coaches get their first or next client in 14 days using a very, very unique organic strategy. Now, I'm excited to dive into this. Obviously, if you followed me for any length of time, you know that I work pretty closely with lots of coaches and consultants. And so I'm always interested in learning about more growth strategies and how other people are leveraging different tactics and different techniques for getting new clients. So I'm going to shut up. I want to welcome Corey and Tuan to the show. Guys, welcome to Experts Unleashed.
Well, thanks, Joel, for having us. Thanks to everybody that's listening in and watching. We're so excited to be here, and we've been looking forward to this, Tuan. Right?
Yeah, it's been an amazing ride. God has truly He's had a lot of favor on us, Joel, and for us aligning all three of us together here, and you being one of our mentors in this season is truly just a divine connection for us.
Well, excited to have you guys here. So what I want you guys to do first is I want you guys to, give my audience just a quick background about, where you guys came from and how you got involved in working with other, coaches and consultants. So fill us in. What's a quick 60-second backstory?
Yeah, go ahead, Tuan.
Yeah, for me, I went to prison 3 times, Joel, for selling high ticket. It was the wrong product, and I realized I just needed a lot of clarity around my offers. And so jumping into the online coaching space, it made so much sense of why clarity is so important, why you need the right product, and you need the right target audience. And so that was kind of like, the early stages of us joining the John Maxwell team and just having this passion to develop leaders in the marketplace. And we thought that, if we got a certification and maybe attached a person's name, maybe to our profile, to our branding, to our website, that would attract clients and people would come chasing us down. But the reality was we didn't know how to market ourselves. We didn't have an offer. And because of that, we realized that we are the avatar. And so that was the beginning journey of how we wanted to help other faith-based coaches literally learn how to make money online.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah, and Tuan, I came from the corporate background, and I was in corporate and wanted to make a difference. I was actually in retail, and I ran into the John Maxwell team, got certified there, jumped in there, and just thought I was going to just make a 6 or 7 figure business happen, helping people. But that just didn't happen. Just like what Tuan was saying, we were actually marketing to everybody and nobody at the same time. And what we found was there's a bunch of people that just wanted to help. And what we wanted to do is help people reach their God-given passion. They have a desire to help people. They got the resources, but it's so frustrating, Joel. We were just so frustrated because we knew we can help people. We just couldn't find them. So today we help people find the people that they are destined to help so they can make a difference in the world.
Tuan, Tuan and Corey, one of the things that obviously we've had a bunch of conversations in the past, and one thing that you guys really lean into is your faith and being very public and being very open with that, which I think is amazing. Have you found any sort of connection with other faith-based coaches and specifically do you find that there's a skill set, maybe not a skill set, or do you find that there's a disconnect that faith-based coaches really are missing that helps bridge the gap of how they're able to consistently attract clients? I don't know if I asked that properly. But, I guess I'm just kind of really wondering if there's something missing or anything specific in the faith-based community with coaches that, maybe they thought it was, attracting clients is one way, but, it's really not. What have you guys found?
Yeah, for one thing, Joel, what we found was of the faith-based coaches, they want to make a difference, right? And the big disconnect, though, is that wanting to make a difference in serving gets in the way of actually building a business. So for Tuan and I, we didn't know the difference between knowing when to serve and when to sell. And we find that is one of the biggest things in the marketplace right now is how do you actually move from the point of giving people free advice because you get stuck in a free zone like we did. I mean, we literally got, Joe, I have it right back here, man. We got paid with a burger joint coupon. Like, this is it right here for a free burger. We never redeemed it. It expired like 6/28/2019. But I'm glad we didn't do it. We didn't inspire, right? But that was the thing. That's the big switch, because a lot of faith-based coaches, they'll get this vision from God, and they think that, hey, you know what? I need to sacrifice my whole life and hope somebody's going to pay me. But this is what happens when you do that. And it's the switch between that and then making an offer that people want, that is validated, that you can bring true value to the marketplace. That's really what makes the difference. And what I found that allows you to track leads is having something that the marketplace wants, not something that maybe like you think that they want, knowing what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to jump in real quick, Joe.
Go ahead, Tuan. Yep.
I have to piggyback on this because this is really good. Is passion doesn't always equal profit. Okay. Most faith-based coaches jump into this online space thinking that I'm going to sell you transformation. I'm going to sell you to become a better version of yourself. I'm going to help you identify your gifts and your talents so you can become this great person. But the reality is everybody needs that. It's not what people want. And going back to what Corey was talking about, we didn't know when to serve and when to sell. And we thought that adding just tremendous value and over delivering time and time again, people would automatically assume to recognize our worth, and they would pay us accordingly. And when we didn't know how to separate passion from profit, our coaching business became a nonprofit. And that's what I see with a lot of faith-based coaches is they don't make any money because they're not willing to make these shifts, these adjustments. And I hear this all the time. Oh, making money is not important. And then if it isn't important, why are you spending 40 plus hours a week trying to make money? And the last time I checked, everywhere we go, even the church, they're asking us for money. And so these are like limiting beliefs. It's like this poverty mindset that a lot of coaches have in the faith-based industry that are scared to talk about money. They believe that maybe making money is evil. And so we run into a lot of that.
That's such a, I would bet a lot of money that those listening right now, when you said not knowing when to serve and when to sell, right? That hit deep with me, right? Because that can matriculate in lots of different ways to a few different audiences. It's we talked about it before, like I've talked about it in the past. I'm like teaching. Like you can't teach too much. Like if you overteach, you're going to confuse people, and you're also going to set the wrong expectation of, oh well, I'm just here to siphon all of your great knowledge, and if they don't know you have an offer, like that's on you, right? That's on you, the leader, the coach. And so can you guys give me an example of like when you discovered that that critical shift? Like, do you have a specific story in mind of like, okay, I was serving way too much and not selling enough. When did you make that shift and realizing that I have to know what that right balance is, and how did you implement it?
Yeah, I think one key moment, Joe, was Tuan and I, we were doing a leadership mastermind. It was about leadership, and it was 12 weeks, right? So we did this whole run up. We did these free classes, these free webinars, and we finally got about 30 people on there after we really did this killer offer. We went from $649. That was the highest we ever sold anything for or tried to sell anything for at the time. and we compromise. So it's like those 3 deadly C's. I'll let you kind of talk about those 3 C's, but we compromised our value all the way down to $149, buy one, get one free. And on that call, Joe, we had 30 people on the call. So we were thinking, okay, cool. We're going to do this buy one, get one free, $149. But on the call, the 30 people started talking to each other on Zoom chat and said, hey, Tuan, would you be my friend? And about 8 of them linked up with each other. And we ended up selling eight folks. And we made about $1,000, maybe $1,100 off of that. And then when we calculated it, it was like $10 an hour, and we split $500 for 12 weeks. Oh. Now, by the week 6, I was looking at Tuan. Tuan was like this, and he, look, don't get me wrong. Like, Tuan gives a tremendous value. He shows up well. I mean, got a lot of energy. Same thing with myself, but he was like this. I was like, man, is Tuan looking on LinkedIn for a job or something? Because he's probably trying to. I don't know if he was calculating, like, man, the economics of this is just not adding up. I mean. So here's the deal, though. We were criminally undercharging for our services, and the economics of our business model was just not working out. And I had to open up another mastermind. I had like 5 different masterminds: Think and Grow Rich one, a leadership one, a speaker club, and just so I can pay the bills. And that was one of those defining moments that we kind of look back and we say, hey, you know what? We kind of messed up along the way.
Yeah, you know what it was too. Now that Corey's mentioned it. It was the $10 an hour Tuan showing up. And this is what I look like. Because it started off great, but think about it. Getting paid $10,000 for a client and $10 an hour, you show up differently per each client based on your value. Another thing that came to mind just as we were talking about that was when you don't know your target audience and you don't really have a valid coaching offer, you're bound for burnout. One thing I learned from you, Joel, is build for scale and not for burnout. That's what we were bound and destined for brokenness and burnout using that model of just super low ticket offers, marketing to everyone. Since we were marketing to everyone, I developed this teaching called the 3 deadly C's, which is you're always going to be customizing your offer. You're always going to be compromising, and you're always going to be convincing the wrong people to buy into something that's ideally not a good fit for them.
And so going back to this, this leadership mastermind, how long did you promote it? Like, how long was your promotion cycle? Like, educating, getting them excited, talking about what they're going to, how long was the promotion stage and the education and the marketing stage? And, we all know the fulfillment is 12 weeks, but I'm curious, what was the front end?
That was at least 2 months.
Oh God.
It was, and we had about. I'm serious. Like we built this whole landing page and everything. Paid somebody to do it. I mean, we paid a lot of money to do that stuff. We don't really pay people to do that type of stuff. We run a real simple business now. But yeah, it was like 2 months, and we had about 4 calls, Tuan, maybe 4 free calls, and promoting that too.
It was about 60. It was about 60 hours. I calculated it was about 60 hours that we put in a period of 3 to 4 months. And we only made $1,000 out of it, splitting maybe $500 a piece, which was $10 an hour.
Yeah, that's crazy. And so, do people make the mistake of, how do other people make the mistake of serving too much and not knowing how to transition into selling? Because that's not an easy, if you haven't done it in the past, or maybe people will say, okay, well, I've tried to sell in the past, but every time I make an offer, people hate me, or I get backlash, or I get negative feedback. So what I'm kind of curious with is, how do you guys maintain that balance? So when you do make the pivot from serving to selling, that audience isn't upset, because you can do it wrong and you can pitch to an audience that isn't ready to be pitched and they can be mad. So how do you guys work that balance?
It's a delicate one. It's a delicate one because I think if I was to put a pin on it, as I'm thinking through it, it'll be you'll have to work on your charging muscle. It's kind of like, you go into the gym, you're working on that bicep, you're working on the tricep, but that charging muscle actually comes in. And what happens is Joel, a lot of coaches, myself included, even though we're faith-based and we love people, we love God, right? We do want to make money. So like when we enter that relationship, I think we enter it wrong. So we enter it in, and hey, I'm going to give you 30 minutes of free coaching, or hey, I'm going to put you inside my 2-week group, and it's going to be free, and then I'm going to give you value. But we also enter in with the intention of selling them something. And I remember it was Zig Ziglar that said, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll have everything you want. But he wasn't talking about that type of relationship. What he was talking about is just helping people get what they want. Like if they wanted to make $10,000 a month or $20,000 a month or get another job, whatever that may be, then you will have everything that you want. But when we were into a relationship that is non-transactional, and we always keep it non-transactional, we fall into that free zone. And it's kind of like when I was dating my wife, I didn't want to fall in the friend zone, right? Because you can't get out of it. And you fall in that free zone, and because there's non-transactional, and as soon as you try to charge, just as you were saying, you have that disagreement with your audience. But it is a fine balance. But I think for today, what we do is we teach our clients to just go to the market with their offer. Like instead of going to market with a free offer, a $49 offer, go to the market with a $2,000, a $3,000, a $4,000, even $12,000 offer. And they're selling them right there because the value is there. And they're entering right at that point in the marketplace where, we read this in your book, high ticket courses, they're entering the zone 1 people, and they're finding them right there that's ready to make, to say, hey, as soon as I see what I want, I know what it is. And then they make that decision because we help them find those people that's closer to that pen.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think 10% of our overall network is ready to buy, but they've just never had an offer. And we've seen so many people that we've added value to in the past sign up and join another program. We're like, oh my gosh, like we spent an hour just giving him free coaching, and now he just joined another mastermind. She just joined our free Zoom call, and then we added so much value, gave her all our PDF docs and all our training and our free course, and then she joined another mastermind. And we realized we never made her an offer. So we were the ones at fault there of why she didn't buy. Now we're really helping coaches really overcome that because they fall into this content-driven branding strategy where all they want to do is they want to create content, Alex Hormozy style captions, and they get this feel-good experience of getting likes, views, and comments. But 90% of their marketing is all content. There's no offers being made. When we started shifting to being more primarily offer-driven, things started changing. Now it allows me and Corey to really do more marketing and branding because we're so offer-driven and focused on that.
Yeah. How would somebody know if they were in a conversation with a potential prospect? The product owner or the coach might think that could be a potential client. They enter a conversation. What are some indicators in that conversation, that back and forth, that might indicate they're a friend or they're in the friend zone or they're in the free zone or the paid zone? Like, what are some indicators that potential lead would be in the free zone?
Yeah. I just asked a question. We teach our team. We teach our team just to ask after a few messages is, hey, just curious, are you looking for free resources or are you actually interested in getting coaching and mentorship? And that pretty much kind of disqualifies or qualifies them right there.
Yeah, it was a big shift, Joe. Like we never really asked somebody like that, but asking people straight up has been a big shift for us. And Tuan came up with that idea, and anybody listening, try it, and it works because you really kind of cut to the chase. Because then you can say, "Oh, well, I'm looking for something free." Well, perfect. Hey, Tuan and I, we run a free Facebook group. It has over 4,500 coaches in it, and we give a lot of free training, a lot of our methods there. So what we'll do is we'll send them to the free group and we'll tag them in a training, right? For those who are looking for that next step, yeah, I'm looking for someone that can actually show me how to do it, and I'm willing to invest in myself. Then yeah, we take them down to the next step. So like that's a quick way that we can help, that we even help our clients, and we do it ourselves in our business today.
Yeah, isn't it incredible though? Like when something so simple allows you to just set the proper expectation with a conversation, and to take the leadership role as the coach, as the consultant, as the service provider, whatever it is that you're selling, right? Because you're right. We are in a unique niche where coaching is advice, and people are just so used to scouring the internet to get free content or to get free, I'll throw in air quotes, advice, that sometimes people just assume that everything's free. Like all advice is free. And oh my God, you want to charge me? It's like, well, no, let's just set the expectation up front. Well, now you've placed the seed. Like, we got something for you. Like, yeah, we have free resources, but what kind of conversation we having here? Right? What kind of dance are we having? I'm happy to serve you either way, but just let me know that what's the best way to serve you, so we're not, we're not heading down the wrong path, or we don't get too far down a path where you have no intention of buying. That's super powerful. It's super powerful. And I hope people listening right now understand that is just like, that's setting the tone and setting the intention up front. So both parties know, okay, what are we talking about here? I love it.
Right. It actually cuts to the chase. It was just the same question you asked earlier about that moving from free to fee, and it just sets the tone, so that way there's no misunderstandings in a relationship, because you still can create value, you still can have, be friendly, but at the same time, just want to know, hey, what are you looking for? Mm-hmm. I think that's a good question. It happened in the Bible all the time. People, the prophets were, hey, what do you want me to do for you? And it was a very genuine question. And that's one of the ways we found that actually helps us move people in the right direction based on where they're at in their business, and all of them are fine. It's just, we just need to know where to place you.
Yeah, I think it helps with our positioning too. That makes a big difference. You either sound desperate or you sound like an expert. And when you position yourself with saying, hey, if you're looking for free resources, I have that also. But now you don't fall into that gap of just wasting time jumping on a call with someone, and this person is just wanting free advice. They're not interested in buying your program. They're so far from the conversion hole. So that's one thing we realized there too. And just being more clear versus being clever. We practice executive communication inside our program now, because a lot of times you assume people know what to do, but in reality, they don't. And so we want to be more clear now. And that's something we practice inside our program now.
Dude, that's solid. Be more clear, not more clever. And I think people get so hung up on, sales tactics. I got to be a great salesperson. I need to go through sales training and learn how to persuade and influence. And it's like, not really. If you can just be transparent, be direct, like, you can have a legitimate conversation on whether or not it's a good fit for either of you. And so be more clear, not more clever. That's you got to trademark that. That's yours, because that's solid. Awesome. So I want to pivot a little bit, right? Because your core promise that we've talked about earlier is like helping, faith-based coaches get their first or next client in 14 days. That's a pretty bold promise. And I think we've kind of like skirted around the overview of kind of how you do it, but, walk us through the process of what that looks like to consistently get clients if you're a transformational coach or any type of coach or consultant, right? So how do you guys work that?
Yeah, great question. I think it's in 3 moves. We call them like the three kingdom moves, Joel. And for coaches that come into our space and they know who they're marketing to, they know they have a validated offer. Yes, we could give them our 14-day process, and it will pretty much get a client for them. Okay. Now but for others, some of them you may be listening to this and you might say, well, that's cool, Corey and Tuan and Joel, but I just don't know exactly who my audience is. I have an idea, I just don't know. But for those, just think about these 3 moves. Move number one is knowing who you're marketing to, your dream client, your avatar. Some people call them those 2 things, and knowing their hot buttons. If you can know that, then you can start on your way of building that 6 or 7 figure business. Number 2 is validating your offer, having something that people want, they can't ignore. They have curiosity about it, and it's different and it has value. And we help our clients get that done. And then the third thing is building that audience, because without lead flow, there's no cash flow. Your network will make or break you in this social media game. And we do everything on Facebook, by the way. So we've created our business. We've done over $2 million just on Facebook alone in like 20 months, right? But our clients, they have the unfair advantage because they use some of our systems and software. So when you think about the 14-day promise, when you have those things lined up, you can go to market and get that client in a very quick manner. Now, we do help people that don't have all those pieces to the puzzle now, and we have a track for them to actually get those pieces of the puzzle done quickly, so that way they can launch and use our 14-day process, and then start getting their clients and start moving them on the way. But the majority, we really love to work with people who are ready to go. They have an offer. They know who they're marketing to. They may just need a little refinement, and they need a client acquisition process that we just actually help them install in their business and get them up and going.
Yeah, we have a unique 14-day promo cycle. For example, our client Joanna, right? She implemented just a 14-day promo cycle inside her group and was able to generate $72,000 in cash just in December. She didn't use any ads. She wasn't just posting sporadically. She implemented this post. It was just refining it and just helping her put that in place. But it was able to generate, over $200,000 in their business just last year.
Yeah.
So do people need an existing audience to get started with the 14-day kind of promo, or can they start out, really, really from scratch? Like what's the situation?
Yeah, with the 14-day, you have to have at least a little bit of audience, have your avatar, have your offer ready, and then we can get you going. Like if someone doesn't, if they're starting from scratch, typically it takes about 30 days to get them up and going, and then get them launched. So it still works. It's just going to take them a little longer. And for those, we always ask, like, hey, look, are you willing to wait 30 days? Are you willing to do the work that it's going to take for 30 to 40 days? Because we also need to vet to make sure that we're able to help them. Because if we're not able to help, what we'll do is we have some free resources to get them along the way, to help them on that journey, and then we revisit the conversation. Because I remember like it was Elizabeth and Matt, they just weren't ready to take the journey. So what we did was we gave them some resources, put them in our Facebook group, let them watch a couple of trainings. 2 months later, they came back to us, and then they got started. Within 30 days, they hit their first $30,000. What I didn't know, though, they were in the middle of foreclosure. Like, Joe, that was like I think out of all of all of our client testimonies, it's my favorite, because I didn't know they were in foreclosure. So they saved their home, and then I remember both of them writing me a message, and me and Tuan writing a message and saying, I don't have to choose when I go to the grocery store anymore. Mm. And quite honestly, because of COVID, because of a lot of economic downturns, a lot of people are making tough choices. No different from I used to do when I used to watch the conveyor belt go, and I'm looking at my phone trying to transfer money out of one account to the next to try to float the bill. But I love seeing that they don't have to make the choice anymore. Mm. So yeah, I mean, like we can help people, but first we're gonna make sure we can help them, because we're not in the business of just taking money from people. We're in the business of helping people that we can actually help, and sending people to resources. If we can't help them, we send them to someone else that could help, or a resource. But mainly, yes, if we definitely want to help people that's ready for a client right now, yeah, we want to help you, and we want to help you get your next client right now.
Yeah. Where do you see most people struggle? Right, you talked about the 3 core pillars of like what needs to get your message, your market, and your core offer. Right, where do you find most people lack? Maybe they come to you and like, hey guys, like, yeah, I've got all of that, and then you do a deep dive and it's like, actually you don't. Where do you see the biggest gap?
We talk about this path to prosperity inside our business, which focuses on 4 things. One is the present, preparation, pain, and prosperity. Most people fall into that pain gap. And what I mean by that is they have a very low capacity of 0, which I've learned is meaning that they don't like going through the pain. And since they don't like enduring the pain of like maybe starting off with no audience, leaving their 9 to 5 and making less money, forsaking all their benefits and that 6-figure income salary, and no longer being a slave, and really wanted to achieve their dream, they just don't get far because that pain process is where they stay, and they often resort back to what was comfortable. I found out that 81% of coaches never make it past year 3 because one, they either go broke because they can't make enough money, they can't generate leads, they don't make sales. Two, they burn out because they get an influx of clients in the front end, but they don't have a scalable business model. Or three, they just disappear.
Yeah, it disappear, and and it's just that's what's happening in the marketplace right now. And if you used to ask me, like from a process standpoint, where they get the most hung up, they try to be perfectionists.
Yep.
And they want to get everything right. And we will tell people like, hey, you know what? Good is good enough and better than a well thought out idea bundled in your head. So it's like, go to market. It's like even with the avatar work, they want to get it perfect. And we all know, like you refine your avatar as you go, but you got to get something on paper and let it go. Like you got to start taking action. And that would be my take on that piece, Joel, because it's like good is good enough, and it's better than a well thought out idea bundled in your head. Just take some action.
Yeah, Joe, we say this inside our business is your purpose is what's in your heart. The calling is what's in your hands. Like me and Corey, we're not passionate about waking up and teaching people how to get clients daily and create high ticket offers. What fuels us is seeing people achieve freedom in their business, giving abundantly, being able to travel whenever they want, spending more quality time with their families, being able to retire their spouse. Like that's what fuels us every single day. And that's what our passion is. I think a lot of coaches get caught up with, hey, this is my passion, but really coaching is not their passion. See, it's something else. And they get that confused. And then now they're saying, well, coaching is what I'm passionate about. I want to see transform lives. And then when they don't make money in that, they're no longer passionate about it. And they give up on that dream really fast because it's really not their passion to coach.
I want to get you guys' opinion on something that is, I have a lot of experience with, and I always like getting other people's professional opinions who work in this space. You work with a lot of transformational coaches, right?
Right.
Okay. When they come to you and they say, Corey Tuan, I've got this offer. Like, here it is. How often do they pitch you on their offer? They share their offer with you, and you guys are saying, pump the brakes. We need to do some work, right? How often does that happen specifically with transformational coaches? And just a little context about why I bring that up is because I know this space, a lot of these coaches think they know what is needed in the marketplace, and they're usually really, really far away from what actually is needed. How often do you guys run into that with transformational coaches? Is it common, or, do most of the people that you work with have their messaging and their offers pretty much dialed in?
My first thought was like 9 out of 10. I almost said 10 out of 10, but there's a couple coaches that I've ran across that are in that leadership and transformational space that have clients. But what I would say that separates them, Joel, is they already have experience in the corporate realm, meaning that they've been doing this the majority of their lives. They already have a foot in the door. Companies open up doors for them to do trainings. For someone that's just wanting to get certified and become a leadership or transformational coach, it's very hard for you to just go knocking on doors and expect to land these big corporate contracts without any type of resume.
Yeah. I think it's in the realm of defining like what's the transformational experience at the end, because that was Tuan and myself. We both was transformational coaches, and we would help people move from ordinary to extraordinary and from here to there. But there's not a tangible transformational result that you look for at the end. And I remember learning this from Jim Edwards. Jim Edwards is one of our friends. I know he's one of your friends, Joel, as well. Is there's 10 reasons why people buy. Like, and a couple of them is make money, save time, avoid effort, feel more comfort, feel more loved, higher social status. And what we found even in the transformational coach realm is we failed to connect that. Because I remember this. I made a course, Joe. I spent so much time on this course, and I showed Tuan. I was proud of it. I made it in, one of the top course making softwares out there. And, I spent a lot of money doing it and a lot of time. And Tuan looked at me after looking at it. He said, Corey, that's a nice looking course. But you know what? No one's going to buy it. I felt like reaching through the Zoom room, grabbing Tuan by the neck. But he was right, because I made something and I went to the market based on what I knew the market needed, but not what the market wanted.
Yep.
And I was focused on needs, not on wants. And that's what we find the 9 out of 10 transformational coaches are focused on. It's just a little shift after that, though. But
it's always funny having a conversation with a transformational coach who says, well, no, I don't need to rework my offer. I've had clients in the past. I get clients through referrals. I get clients through networking. And I'm sure you guys also have to have the same conversations. Like, listen, that's a completely different medium. It's like, yeah, you can take, there is a certain truth to, if somebody's in your world long enough and they like you long enough and eventually find out that you have an offer, yeah, like they will buy something. But is it going to happen with consistency? Is it going to happen with predictability? No. Like, that's why we're talking. Like, you want to go build your business with, warm networking and referrals and having other people sell your stuff and make you think that you actually do have a great offer. Fine, you go do that. But if you want to have predictability and stability, like, you got to get your messaging dialed in. You got to be more specific and more tangible. So I kind of set you guys up with that because I wanted to have a good chuckle, because I knew it was going to be like all of your clients, not all of your clients, but like everyone you speak to, because it's everyone that I speak to in transformational. Like, they're like, oh, I've had 50 clients over the past, 4 years through networking. Okay, cool. Well, why are we talking? If you got all dialed in, like, why are we having this conversation? So,
truth.
Awesome. Tuan, I want to ask you, if you don't mind, you said you went to prison 3 times. I would love to learn, like, your number one lesson that you've applied in your time in prison, that you've been able to apply with working with coaches and working as a coach and working as a transformational leader. What is one skill set or one experience that has transferred between those two very different, very unique situations?
I'll say just being intentional about making those connections. One thing we talk about is everyone communicates, very few people connect. Connecting for me has been the number one skill set that has allowed me to be in certain rooms. And when I really became intentional about just asking great questions, sharing my story, that has been very pivotal, Joel, in just being able to allow God to open up doors for me and sharing my testimony of just, Corey tells me all the time, you have $1 million story. And I want to say that to the audience too, is you're sitting on $1 million story, and learning how to communicate that in a way where people can understand it and it's not super long is going to really open up a lot of doors for you. I've learned how to tell my story in so many different ways now. When I use that high ticket, I just made that up one day because really I needed clarity around my offers, and I went to prison for selling high ticket offers. It was just the wrong product. And so that's that one thing that I always share with our clients now is, what's that one thing about you that's going to make people remember you? Like, you can go to thousands of coaches that teach something similar that we do, but it's not Tuan and Corey. We don't have the same story. It might not be the same faith. So that's one thing that we've really understood, that, we're still at the core of our heart, we're still leadership coaches. We just don't come into the marketplace and market leadership as the main transformation. Once you join our program, everything's still leadership. Leadership is more of a unique mechanism that we use to attract clients. It's not the overall transformation. I hope that makes sense there, if you're listening.
So follow-up question to that. So you said that skill set was learned while you were in prison. Is that correct? Yes. Can you give me an example? Like, how was that developed? Was there a specific instance? When did you learn the importance of communication?
I was leading a prison gang in there. So My journey just started off. I was, I gave my life to Christ one day, put out a Bible because I was just so broken, Joe. I was like, man, I just disappointed my entire family. These empty promises. Here I am facing 16 years for another drug charge. I was selling meth, got busted by narcotics in a sting operation. And I go to church for my very first time as a brand new believer. Never read the Bible. I'm all the way out in West Texas in this cowboy chaplain with his hat. As I'm stepping in with my little crew, he says, God gave me a vision about you, boy. And I'm like, me? He goes, yep, you. And I was like, nah, not me. I just got here. He says, I want you to be on the ministry team. And I was like, me? Ministry team? Nah, God wouldn't choose someone like me to be on the ministry team. I mean, I'm a gang member. Like, I'm a dope dealer. Like, why would God choose someone like me? And I went back to my dorm that day and I compromised with what the chaplain told me. But God convicted me and I said yes. 3 months into my sentence, I was already at the podium sharing the gospel. And that's when God showed me that I've called you to preach the gospel, even where you're at. And that was the beginning of God cultivating this vision for me and saying the reason why so many men are in prison is because the lack of leadership. And a big part of that is they don't know how to communicate. So I spent the next 5 years pouring into leadership and communication. I remember reading a book by Zig Ziglar. We mentioned that earlier, called See You at the Top. When I was in prison, Joel, I read those books and there was a section where he said, when you get a chance, join a public speaking club. So I wrote it in my journal. It's like my bucket list, right? And I never thought that inside a Texas State prison, there would be a public speaking club called Toastmasters offered to me when I got there. One day when I was at this prison, as a matter of fact, I'm going back to the same prison that I was at for 3 years of my life. Like I volunteer there every single week, teaching men leadership. And one day on the intercom, they said, Toastmasters turn out. And I asked my neighbor, I was like, what is Toastmasters? He said, that's some public speaking club. It's just a bunch of guys go down there and they just speak. And I'm like, well, that sounds really cool. And I remember what I wrote. I remember what I wrote down in my journal is join a public speaking club. So I went down there and it was the most frightful thing I've ever been through because as I sat in the back, these guys are up there and they have time speeches. They're executing and they're getting evaluated. And I told myself, nah, I'm good. I'm going back. I think I'm good enough. But I compromised with my dream for 2 months, Joel, until I finally said yes. And 6 months later, I became the president of Toastmasters. That's why communication is so important to me now.
That's amazing.
Love it.
That's incredible. Corey, I want to ask you the same question, right? You came from the corporate world. You said you came from corporate and retail. All right.
Yeah.
What's the number one lesson that you learned that was transferable over to this current chapter in your life of leadership development, working with coaches?
I think it goes to leadership. I think leadership is everything. Leadership is sales. Leadership is marketing. Leadership is influence. John Maxwell coined the phrase "leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less." And and in my time in corporate, Joel, I was in the Navy for 8 years. I used to fly in helicopters. I thought I was going to do that for the rest of my life until we started having kids. I have 5 kids and a beautiful wife. Been married for 23 years now. And I got out and went into the retail world. And in the retail world, what I found is the people that can communicate the best, they get paid the most. And at the time, I was trying to feed the family, Joe. Like I have a picture on my wall right now. If I look at it, it's like right over there. Y'all can't see it right now. But it's my son in the swimming pool. It's my oldest son. And I remember the moment where I had my youngest son at the time. I had 2 kids. He brought me 35 cents, and he said, "Dad, I want to get in the pool." Now, look, I was 25 years old, had a job, served my country, and I couldn't pay for him to get in the swimming pool. And at that moment was, hey, I need to do something with my life. So I picked up the book, 21 Years for Evil Laws of Leadership, picked up a couple like Zig Ziglar, and just started really reading and impacting and finding that the more I was able to lead and raise my individual leadership lid, the more I actually was able to create value for people. And the more value I created, actually also monetary wise, money came in, and I was able to give more back to like my church, the community, and also raise my family the right way. So, so throughout my career, in retail, I was able to promote leaders, do a lot of those things. And then it came to a point where I guess I was doing too much. They were asking me to do a lot, create leadership programs. And then I got called in the office and said, hey, you know what? You need to stop posting about leadership. So I posted more about the company. And I remember there was like 3 times that happened. My wife was like, Corey, I think it's time for you to actually launch. Like she believed in me more than I believed in myself. And then maybe a lot of people that's listening right now, that you may have other people that believe in you more than you believe in yourself. And I borrowed her belief. And then, it took me 5 years though, and I finally launched out. And I launched out 3 months into the pandemic, which, I always joke this is the best time to launch, right? It was actually probably some of the worst time. People think, well, it's the worst, but it was the right time for me. And, so to this day, I know how important it is to lead and communicate well, because if you can't lead and communicate well, you can't build a tribe. And part of Tuan and I's business, we build a tribe, a Facebook group and a community where actually we build this tribe and this group and this community of people that can come and learn and develop, but also at the same time take the next step. And if you're great at leadership and communication, you can actually do that, and you can do it very well. But it just takes practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So powerful, man. Like, you can definitely tell just from this very short conversation that we've had, and we've had multiple conversations, the impact that communication has had on both of your lives is paramount and crystal clear, right? Just understanding that the higher you communicate, the higher you earn. Like the higher level that you speak, the more that you will make. And it's so true. You guys, I think it was Tuan, you mentioned this, I don't know, about like 20 or 30 minutes ago in our conversation. You said, you know what, there's other people out there who teach very similar things that we do, but once you get in, right? Like, can you learn how to grow your coaching business and get clients from other people? Yeah, like, of course, right? But it's not going to be from us. Like, it's not going to be the Corey and Tuan way, right? It's not going to be through our lens. When you get into, like, we don't market this as a leadership course. We don't market this as a leadership development program, right? Yeah, we're going to show you how to get clients. But once you get into our world, yeah, we're going to teach you leadership. Like, yeah, we're going to teach you communication. Yeah, we're going to teach you messaging, right? And it's a lesson that I want people to understand that, number one, if you are looking to, there's nothing more, it's kind of like a meta lesson, right? Because we're really talking about like the different layers of influence. Like, you have the external layer, which is going to attract people in, and then you've got the internal layer that's going to keep them there, right? And your message that attracts people in has to be very specific to the problems and the pains that they're facing. And then it's once they get in, it's like, all right, so you sell them what they want, give them what they need, right? It's like, you want more clients. Cool, we can help you with that. But what do you really need? Well, you need to level up your communication skills. You need to level up your leadership skills to get better results for your clients and to attract better clients. So it's, I love talking about leadership, but leadership is really difficult to sell because you can't really sell leadership. Nobody's really looking for leadership. Some people are, but like, it's always wrapped in a different message. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of highlight that because I thought it was really, really unique to hear your guys' stories and experience as that has evolved.
I love how you wrap that up too, Joel, because like a lot of people come in and they come in, they need leads. I mean, who doesn't want leads, right? I saw this crazy meme. It said they, had a white van, and it said kidnapping coaches since like 2020, and like free leads on the side of the truck, and because that's what people think, they need leads. But what I love to see the transformational, like say Joanna, who comes in and we teach her how to lead her coaching company. So she comes in and she says she wants to be a coach, and then she evolves to I'm a coaching company owner, and that's the thing. I think if it was anything that Tuan and I do in our business, it's kind of like if you're going down the street, you see a sign on the building that says under new management. I think you can hang a sign in front of Premier Excel Coaching, and you can actually put we build leaders, because that's really what we do. Mm-hmm. We build leaders, or you can say leaders are leaders made here.
Yep.
because we systematically help people systematically develop themselves. So now, once they are a coach, then all of a sudden we help them also at the same time build a team and know how to lead a team. So now they can have freedom in their business. Because at the end of the day, a lot of the people want to have the freedom, they want to have the time, but you can't have that if you're digging in the DMs all day, if you're doing all the work. But what would it be like if you had freedom and you had time to go travel? And that's where like the true transformational experience happened. But that's what we teach and the evolution of the process within the program. But yeah, at the beginning, we're going to help you get your first client. But then all of a sudden you say, man, this guys showed me how to communicate and lead at the same time.
Yeah. Joe, the number one question most prospects ask us or clients is how much time will it take? How much time? Because at the end of the day, everybody wants to redeem the time. One of my favorite Bible verses, Ephesians 5:15 and 16. You can go look it up. But the Apostle Paul tells us to walk circumspectly or carefully, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil. I want to focus on redeeming the time. Redeeming the time actually means improve opportunity, secure what's lost, or buy back time. One thing we realize is we want to help coaches redeem the time in their coaching business because we know if we can do that and we can help them launch super fast, they'll understand that there's way more faster methods to building a 6-figure coaching business.
It's powerful, man. It's 100% true.
Yep.
Time is one of the most selling towards time is a better client attraction mechanism than selling financial gain for the most part, right? Because people who value time over money typically are a different type of prospect and different type of client. If you value your own time more than you value money, then we talk about that as like almost the ideal high ticket buyer. But God, I wish we could continue this conversation, guys. This has been a lot of fun. It actually took a much different turn than I anticipated, but I had a blast. Obviously you guys work with coaches and consultants, transformational leaders, and transformational coaches. Where can people check your stuff out? Where can people connect with you? Let's drop some links.
Well, for one, they can connect with us on Facebook, on our actual Facebook accounts. We also have our Facebook group, which is the Launch Your Offer method for our high ticket coaches, which is that's our group that we have. They also can go to premierexcelcoaching.com to connect with us on our website as well. But it's just a number of ways. We have Kingdom Impact .21 on Instagram, so you can follow us on Instagram as well. But definitely, we love to connect with anyone that's listening. If you have a heart to serve, you want to know more, definitely come check us out.
Awesome. You guys have been amazing. Corey Tuan, it's always great to connect. We'll make sure to include those links in the show notes. And I appreciate you guys more than you know. And so if you guys are in the market to get more clients, if you're in the market to improve your leadership skills, if you're in the market to improve yourself as a better person, I highly encourage go check out these guys. They're amazing. And I hope you just took this time to get an insight as to who these two people really are and got to really embrace their personality and enjoyed this conversation. Guys, I appreciate it as always, and we'll see you all on the next episode. Take care.